Sign up to the SBR Network and use your free daily bet points to earn real-world prizes. Click on the page and start winning now.
Welcome to SBRforum.com. In this video, we're going to take a look at Game 3 between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, this has been a very vice versa series, flip-flopping in Games 1 and 2. Game 1, the Pittsburgh Penguins trailed 3-1 in the second period. They came back, ended up winning 4-3. On the flip side, in Game 2, you got the Columbus Blue Jackets, who, after a disheartening loss in Game 1, managed to get off the mat, trailing 3-1 against the Pittsburgh Penguins on the road. They managed to come back, tie the game, and then eventually win 4-3 in double overtime. So what does this mean for Game 3? Well, I still like the Pittsburgh Penguins in this contest. My last couple of picks have been overs, but now I'm comfortable taking a side. I like the Pens in this spot. This is a team that's very experienced. This is a team that's been in this position before. Take a look back to last year when they were challenged by an upstart team, i.e. the New York Islanders. But I still think the Pens are the better team. More importantly, in my opinion, the Pens have yet to play their best game, whereas I think the Blue Jackets are at least starting to top out, if not have already topped out. Now, when you take a look at the first two games, in the last video I talked about some of the Penguins stars not performing too well. Well, Crosby had a couple of assists in Game 2, but still, you take a look at Games 1 and 2, you got Crosby, Malkin, Neal, Kunitz. I think we're talking about 4 or 5 points between those two guys. 8 goals in total for the Pens 7 goals in total for the Pens in 2 games, and only a handful of points for their top 4 stars. I think there's a lot of improvement available to those guys. Crosby's yet to score a goal. You take a look at the Pens special teams. They came through in Game 1. But Game 2, they were 1 for 8 on the power play, including 0 for 2 in overtime. We're talking about a team that was the best in the NHL on the power play this season. So I think that can definitely get better. As for Columbus, they're kind of scraping out these goals, scratching them out whatever way they can. None of them are pretty, but I think that's how Columbus plays. That's about as good as it gets for them. I think if the Pens' offensive weapons get going, they're going to have a much easier time. So, to recap, through Games 1 and 2, the Pens have looked so-so. I think it's time for them to step up and play their best game, or at least start to play their best game, and retake control of this series by stealing home ice advantage in Game 3. One last point I'll throw out, this is something to keep in mind for Columbus. As we saw last year for the New York Islanders, as we see many times in both the NHL and NBA, when you have a new team entering the playoffs, or a team that doesn't have a ton of experience in this role, it's very different for them to be in a position where they're the underdog, they're not expected to win, a la Columbus in Games 1 and 2. They can play free-flowing, play with no pressure, that type of style. And then everything turns once they are expected to win. Now you take a look at Columbus. They got the split in Pittsburgh. They should now be favored to win because, home ice advantage, blah, blah, blah. Maybe not favored on the odds, but they are starting to actually be expected to win. There are now some sort of expectations for this team. That's very different for a team that doesn't have that experience, and I think that's going to affect them in Game 3, especially being at home, in front of the home audience. There's going to be expectations, jitters. Pittsburgh's been there many, many times. Columbus is not. I think we're going to see the Pens play their best game in this spot and get the job done. With the odds listing the Pens as a small road favorite, about -115, -120, I think the price is right here, and that's why I'm going to recommend them on the side. Thanks for watching this video right here on SBRforum.com. We got wire-to-wire coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Make sure you check out all of our videos, all of our articles, and then take this information and turn it into some winners. Thanks for watching.